Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, Cat's Garden, Kitchen, and more. I know I haven't put out a video in a while. Just been busy with work and other things. But I wanted to share with you how I roast my pumpkin and my pumpkin seeds. I actually started doing this for a post about a year ago on Facebook, sharing that I had roasted the pumpkin and turned it into puree and roasted the seeds. And several people, including family and friends, posted back, you need to do a YouTube channel. You need to share this info. And so that's what got me started. And then we had Halloween this last weekend. And I came home and a good chunk of my pumpkins that we had out for decoration had been destroyed and smashed. And I was only able to save a couple of them. And I'll show you here. So here's some of the ones I was able to save. I'll get them all cleaned up and then we'll go ahead and roast them. This one had been mashed pretty good. I'm not quite sure why someone, or maybe kids, I don't know, would do that, but it's alright. I'm not going to let it get the better of me. And I'm just going to use what I have. So basically, I'll take you into the kitchen and we'll go over how to prepare these and get them in to be roasted. Well, so I've got my pumpkin all cleaned up and in slices here. And what I'm going to do is, I've got to finish cutting it, but I'll show you what I've got so far. You want to take a little bit of olive oil or an oil of your favorite, just lightly brush it, not very much, just lightly, enough to keep it from sticking to the parchment paper. And then you're going to flip it over. And I try to have mine as close to the same size pieces as I can. That way they cook evenly and roast evenly. There's some that's a little bit smaller, but not much. Okay, so what I'll do is I will continue to cut this up to similar sizes and get them on here. And then I will put them in the oven at 400. And you can roast this whole thing right here. But then you lose out on getting the pumpkin seeds that I'm going to roast. And it takes a little bit longer. So I like doing it this way. So to each their own. But we're going to put it in and roast them anywhere from 35 minutes to an hour. You'll know when they're done because you'll be able to put a fork into them. And the fork will come out very easily and you'll know they're tender. So I'm going to finish up here and get it in the oven. And then I will show you what I do next. Yeah. Oh, so I am taking the seeds out of this butternut squash, and you might wonder why I'm doing the butternut squash when I've got the pumpkin here. Your butternut squash is very similar in flavor and texture as the pumpkin, and it's interchangeable in recipes that call for pumpkin. If you don't have pumpkin, you can put butternut in place of it. Since I had some of my pumpkins destroyed this year, I got me some butternut to make up for that. Because a lot of the pumpkins from Halloween and stuff aren't around. I'm not sure though. I've got a bowl of seeds here. Not sure if you can eat these seeds or not. I know you can, the pumpkin ones. So if you guys know, comment below and let me know. But I will do the same thing. I'll brush it with a little bit of oil and I'll flip it upside down and roast it here. So once I'm all done with this and this pumpkin, I'll throw it in, roast it up, and I'll be back. So I got these out of the oven and let them cool for a little bit. And I'm just taking the skin off. I've got a spoon just in case I have a little rough area. But most of them, the skin is just peeling off really nicely. I have the butternut over on the stove. And I'll do that right after I do this. But really all you do is just throw it into your blender. I've got the garbage can right here. I'm throwing that down here. And then you're going to blend it up until it's a nice puree. Take my rag, wipe off my hands. I don't have a real fancy blender, so I have to kind of pop this down a little bit. And then what I like to do is add just a tiny touch of water. So let me go grab the water. Now you don't want to add a ton of water because you still want this to be thick and pureed and pumpkin-like. Got a couple little drops there. And you just let that blend up until it is all nice and pureed. Let me take a spoonful and show you what that looks like. So I'm going to finish up here, and then I will come back and show you the finished product. So I've got it all pureed except for the butternut squash. Now remember, we added a little bit of water to it. I told you to only add a little bit, and that was so that it could blend up in here without hurting the motor. But if you have a better blender than what I have, you could probably skip putting the water in. But if you do put the water in and you feel like it's too thin, you could heat it up and cook it down until it gets a little bit thicker. Or whatever recipe that you're making, whatever liquid it calls for, cut some of that out. Either way works. I'm putting them into packages. I've got some packages that are 2 cups and some packages that are 1. And I have written on it exactly what it is. Pumpkin puree, 2 cups, 11/6/2001. What I do to fill this, to make sure that it's not a mess, because we don't want to make a mess, is I fold down the top. And then I very carefully take my 1 cup and I pour that in as carefully as I can. I think we'll make this a 2-cup one. There's nothing added to it other than the water. No sugar, no salt, no pepper, because you want to be able to use this in all of your recipes. And when you're using it in your recipes, then you'll add all that other stuff to it. And so basically, because I'm going to put this in the freezer and I want it to stack easily, I'm going to close it and leave just a tiny bit open and push out all of the air. And I'll write on it that it's 2 cups and it's pumpkin puree. And then I will stick it in the freezer, and that's really all there is to it. I'll do the same thing with the butternut squash. This is what it looks like when it's been pureed. See how pretty that is? You can use it in soups, cakes, cupcakes, breads, cookies. There's numerous things you can use it in. So I hope you give this a try. Don't forget to hit the bell notification below so you're notified of any upcoming videos. If you're not already, subscribe, and hit the thumbs up. And like I said earlier, if you are aware of whether or not you can roast the butternut squash seeds, comment below and let me know. And we'll talk to you later. Bye, my friends.